Hey guys, today we're getting into the Masonic Order, crystal, and their meaning behind it, and how it conflates to the Watts case, to whether or not this is a secret society, whether or not this is a huge psyop. So let's break it down. Get your drink, get some popcorn, put your headphones in, and let's break it down.
We're living in a time of great social engineering, okay?
Waging a path towards an ancient Mayan city in what is now modern-day Belize. The skull seems so out of place, so advanced in its craftsmanship, juxtaposed against the Mayan ruins of ancient stone and earth, fashioned out of a single solid piece of clear quartz. The adventurer and his daughter immediately realized they had stumbled upon one of the most mysterious objects in the history of archaeology.
Now, if y'all don't know what social engineering is, go look it up.
We're going to get into Max Spiers again and hear what he has to say and transliterate it to what they've been saying since the early 80s to the 90s. But we thought everyone that talked about this stuff at this time was crazy until it came to pass.
There's people out there that know how to scientifically make society do what they want it to do, how they want it to be done. They're engineering how society should be. That's social engineering.
We're going to get into crystal skulls, Area 51, and how it pertains to Nichol Kessinger and Chris Watts, who killed his pregnant wife, Shannan, and his two young daughters, Bella and Celeste. What I found.
You need a lot of background in the evolution of the science that makes those things possible to be able to accept that the U.S. has dozens, if not hundreds, of vehicles that are more than capable of space flight, and make it so we would have a fleet of vehicles that would be seemingly extraterrestrial. And the reason that that has to be kept that way is because if you know that those vehicles exist, you start to question the technology that they're based on. And when you start to do that, then you start to question why we're still using petroleum products and solid rocket boosters and everything else, and things get quickly out of hand after that. So to keep those vehicles a secret is to keep everything else a secret.
Illuminati came to the United States through a fraternity, a Faustian financial fraternity, in 1832. And if we take a look at this Faustian financial fraternity, we will see that we have the Skull and Bones.
There's only one road in and out of Crestone, Colorado. The pavement stops on mountain slopes at 8,000 feet, with Himalayan-like 14ers looming above the town's 7 square blocks. In the other direction, the road unfurls into the high desert of the San Luis Valley, an 8,000 square mile break between the Sangre de Cristo and San Juan mountain ranges. The largest alpine valley on Earth, it can seem like a strange geologic void, like a vortex. Many claim it is. Crestone and the greater San Luis Valley has been viewed as sacred for thousands of years. Today, it's the New Age religious capital of the world. These are the Crestone mountain range, where there's also portals. You have the Yeti Ranch, as well as multiple missing persons. Many UFO sightings, as well as interdimensional beings sighted in this area. The San Luis Valley sits on a bed of crystal. The whole thing is on crystal, so it's magnetic. It's a portal.
George Bundy. I addressed this to George Bundy. He just came completely discombobulated on the stage. I wish I had a picture of that. I asked Bill Buckley about his membership in the Skull and Bones in New Orleans. He got up and running, almost went running out of the room.
He refused to even comment.
Yeah.
George Bush was asked one time and he changed the subject.
Of course.
So
that's what it's all about.
People are talking.
Yeah. You have a reptilian unity to create a new bloodline where you have the swastika marrying in with the Star of David. That the alien movement is talking about that.
Right, the Raelian.
Max Spiers just mentioned Raelism, which is an interesting religion. It's a UFO-based religion. They believe the ancient alien theory. And then their emblem is a swastika inside of a Star of David. It's like they married it together. The female leader of Raelism, which sounds like Israelism, is also the leader in the world in human cloning. There was a few rappers that were saying that they're Gen C clones. So there's clones walking among us.
The magicians always have their magic wands. Magic wands were always made out of holly wood. And holly wood has been used for many years to manipulate your thinking, to explain mystical subjects to you, and to prepare you to accept certain mystical premises. A classic example, and I'm not in any way belittling the work, but it's very important to understand Steven Spielberg and George Lucas's work with the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, because you can't understand the Last Crusade if you don't understand the First Crusade. And if you understand that the Raiders of the Lost Ark, who was the Raiders of the Lost Ark fighting against? It was the Nazis.
The information can be downloaded into crystals too. I think the crystal skulls, and going off track again, but the crystal skulls carry massive amounts of God mind information. If you can,
What's God mind?
I think so I'm thinking that might be the collective oversoul of this area of the universe. So if you could put all the information for all the technology that's necessary, all the information of the true galactic history, all the information of really what's gone on in the inner wars that's gone on, because this is just it's a prison planet, but it's an inner war constantly.
Madame Helena Petrovna Blavatsky wrote a magazine. I've had the bound works of that magazine entitled Lucifer Magazine. She had a lot of followers. Adolf Hitler was one. He certainly incorporated a lot of the occult symbology.
Well, let me comment on that real quickly.
The Third Reich.
The term swastika, that is not a German term. The very name swastika is a Hindu word, and it's a symbol. Now, most people in the audience have probably never heard of this, but in occultism, it deals a lot with energies, with powers and forces, and these powers and forces come through something that are called chakras. And the word chakra is a Hindu word which means spinning vortex.
Vortex is in Colorado, Chimney Rock, Crestone, Garden of the Gods, and then the rest of them. Check out our last video that we posted. We go into more depth on Crestone and the vortex.
Now, the swastika is a symbol of the chakras that are energized and working in unison. So the word swastika is a Hindu word, not a German word. And the word Aryan is a Hindu word. The Aryans were the Brahmin caste of Hinduism. So much of the terminology and concepts that Hitler used were from esoteric Hinduism.
Why Hitler related to the Brahmin caste system was because it was a class system. It was classism, where they had a rich upper level high caste and then a low peasant nothing caste. So I disagree with the man that says that the swastika has nothing to do with the ancient Germanic people. How does he know that? And also, it's a social order of an elitist mentality, which that was Hitler's mentality. And the crystal skulls are literally like a supercomputer of human thought. It collects human thinking, our thoughts.
Interesting too in the Star Wars, according to the Masonic reference works that you can get in any library, the Freemasonic orders of Europe said that there was a little ideologue, a little spiritual entity that gave the knowledge to what the Masons call our hidden masters. That's what Freemasonry refers to those who lead world Freemasonry. They don't know who they are. No Freemason knows who the actual leaders of the world organization are. They call them our hidden masters.
Experience at Area 51 and Psy-Training, and what I learned there, and the abilities that evolved from that training session that we all seem to pick up on rather easily, and the abilities that evolved from that training session that we all seem to pick up on rather easily were most easily described to the layman as Jedi skills. It's very easy, if you know what I know, to see the correlation between what happens in the movie in the Jedi training and what happens in Area 51 and Psy-Training. We in the Nines all possessed a certain level of intuition and ability that would seem advanced to anyone who watched us use it.
Y'all out there, George Soros is a fucking multi-billionaire down with, you know, some of the 12 richest people in the fucking
He raised
world.
$100 million.
Yep.
For Black Lives Matter Coalition.
What billionaire would have done that for the Black Panther Party?
33 million. 33 million. 33 million.
Well, according to the reference works, there is a little spiritual entity that guides the world Freemasonry, and they call him Yoda. And in the reference works, you'll see this little creature with the pointed ears, and he's called Yota. Yota goes back to Judah, or Judah, which goes back into British Israel World Freemasonry, going back to the time of the founding of England, and that's why they're today called British. The British, it's a very big difference between being English and British. Brit is Hebrew for contract or a covenant, and ish means man in Hebrew. Therefore, British is the covenant man or man of the new covenant.
So we're talking about Star Wars.
So we're talking about Star Wars. We're talking
and
about
the evil empire and
Empire
Yoda
Strikes Back. Take over the world. So what we're saying here is that there is a war going on between gangs to see who's going to ultimately be on the top of the pyramid.
These found footage clips are from the late 80s, early 90s, which is pretty crazy when you think about it in terms of what's going on today and how this conflates to the Chris Watts case, how he worked at Anadarko Petroleum for a long time and met his mistress, Nichol Kessinger, there, allegedly. We find out that Anadarko's involved in Event Horizon oil spill, the biggest oil spill in the world. And Chris hid the little girl, adorable baby girl's bodies in the tiny, tiny hatch. It's like this little hole in the oil batteries. He dumped them in it, and it's thick. It's not like oil, it's like tar. This is the Anadarko oil spill, and to me it looked like a face was manifesting in the fire.
5 points off of a 5-pointed star or a pentagram, you have left in the middle a pentagon. That's why the United States has a pentagon. The pentagon is directed toward the North Star because according to the ancient Babylonians, that's where you gathered power from the gods of the North in war. Impress and frighten the world of humanity into accepting a new order that will finally put down all the disorder in the world, and it is the oldest trick in the book.
Oldest trick in the book. Old world order.
Our greatest enemy is not in a crack house, it's in the White House. It's not in a bar room, it's in the boardrooms. And so the point I'm making is that we are being manipulated from the very top, and we need to wake up.
We've got to wake up. We've got to wake up. Never in the annals of human history has so few done so much so often to rob and ravish so many as the warlords and the warlocks of Wall Street and Washington. We've got to wake up.
The beast rose out of the sea. Out of his mouth go burning torches. Sparks of fire leap forth. Out of his nostrils smoke goes forth as from a boiling pot, and burning rushes. His breath kindles coals, and a flame goes forth from his mouth.